Welcome back everyone, and yet again I am doing another house smart installation. In this video, I'm going to be doing the same thing I already did. Why are you watching it? Because it's a different door and it's a different product. This one actually connects, it says right down there, Apple HomeKit. So it'll be a part of my HomeKit. So I've got the cameras now, I've got the lights, which I turned on before I came over here with my phone, and now I'm going to have a door. Oh, I also have the garage too. So I have so many things now. So I'm gonna install this, and this one's gonna be cool because it's through my phone. I shouldn't even need to carry keys anymore. I can access my house as long as I have my phone. All right, first things first, I'm gonna come in here and I am going to take, oh, I can't do that with the door like that. I'm gonna take these screws out of both sides. Very simple. Once I take these out, this whole thing should come loose. All right, now that we have the two screws out of there, we also need to take this out, possibly. So we don't know if this is gonna fit with the new one or not. So I'm gonna take both the inside and the outside. Oh, we've got some paint around that, so it's not gonna be an easy pop out, but I'm gonna take the outside out of this, and we might have to change, because the inside definitely looks a lot different. So we'll have to change this too. I'll take both of these Phillips screws out and we'll get the dead bolty part changed. So as you can see, they supply two different types. They've got one with the built-in striker thingy and then one without. Mine looks like this, so I'm using this one. All right, got those out. Now we're just gonna push, wiggle, finagle. Oh, there it goes. Let me take that out. Ta-da, easy as pie. Put that down there, put the new one in, and when we put this in, we have to make sure that this middle bit here is right in the center. We also have to make sure that this bit is facing up. Plus you can read up. Up is up. Like a glove. All right, so that's what it's supposed to look like. If for whatever reason you have a larger diameter hole in here and this thing is kind of scooted over and it's not long enough, these things, I'll show you what the other one can twist and become longer. So you can see that this little tube here, it's got a little slot that goes at a diagonal. If you just hold it and twist it, it'll extend itself out. So depending on the size of your door, you can make these longer or shorter. Also, if you have a different size door, this is like a adapter plate that goes on this thing. So if we take a look at our current little, whatever they're called, striker plate things, one, I'm missing a screw, and two, the new one is quite a bit chunkier than the old one. So you can either keep the current one that you have, or you can take it off, put the new one on. These larger ones, they have massive screws that go in towards there. That's actually really good for security. It won't just be these little tiny ones that can be popped out. Like, they will go deep into the actual frame of the door. So if someone tries to kick it open, it's gonna make it a whole lot harder for them. So if I'm gonna put this onto here, I have to not only take this off, but I need to get a chisel and chisel out a larger area so this sits flush inside, which they didn't do the best job on that one, but you kind of get what I'm trying to say. Like these guys, I got this one, I used the hammer to make sure it fit nice and flush, but for the most part, it sits flush in there. It's not poking out or anything. So gotta get a chisel and a hammer. Got the hammer, need a chisel. All right, so the way I'm doing this is I'm gonna line it up first. So that's just about center in there. This is a much larger hole than that's actually needed for the deadbolt itself, but get it to where you want it. You can see that obviously we need to cut out some more. Get a sharp object. I've got my little chisel down here, went around the edges, and you can see as I take this off, I marked all around the edges. That's gonna be the new size. I just lined it up to this current inside, so I don't have to do 4, I just have to do 3 sides, so top, bottom, and the right. I'm just gonna get the chisel, and you can see how much needs to be taken out because of the current one. So I just need to get my current chisel. I'm gonna come underneath here, but first, right where this is, I'm gonna start tapping it in, and then I'm gonna pop them up this way. Probably won't look as pretty as what's on here, but it'll get the job done. And once you get the cutout done, you'll have enough. As you can see, that's where I wanted it. Went around the edges, trimmed it up a little bit just to get that little edge out of the way. Now, this one is also a lot thicker than the last one, so it doesn't cut exactly flush on here, but if you want to, you can chip away a little bit at this to make it sit the way you want it in that little notch. So it's a little bit more flush, but I think this will work. If not, you can always take it off and peel a little bit more off of there. All right, so these are the ones that they give with you in the kit. As you can see, these are some pretty meaty screws that go in. It's supposed to come in that way. So the long screws are supposed to go on the outside of the door, and the little ones go to the right of those. So we'll get this, pop it in place, put the long ones through here, the short ones through here, and that should be perfectly usable. And after it is all done, it's gonna look like this, nice and shiny and new-ish. So when you put these small ones in, I started with these two small ones just to get it in place. Close your door, or at least try to close your door, make sure everything lines up. It's flush enough to where your door is gonna be able to close without bumping into anything. And once you put these long screws in, these are gonna go through your trim, and then it's gonna pass through and hit that first stud, the actual part of your house. So this, if someone tries to kick in your door, it's not just gonna snap off. You're gonna have to have a drill. I have an impact drill. It's gonna be needed. These are not gonna be very easy doing it by hand, if at all possible. Anywho, once that's in, we've got the plate. We've got this, which is gonna be able to close through that. There's nothing sticking out. Now we can actually start putting the stuff in place. This stuff. All right, so this dude, the fancy keypad, goes on the outside of the door. So, as you know, we're gonna feed it through here. This wire is just gonna go straight under. There's no special holes that it goes in like the other one that I installed. This one is just gonna go underneath here. All right, so if your door is 2 1/8, I measured it, and that's, I guess, what the instructions say, you need to use this little adapter thing here. So we're gonna throw this adapter on here, just so it's a bigger diameter. Because if you try to put this on, it's really, really small, and it'll just kind of move around. This keeps it nice and stable. So I'll put it on like this, put it through the door. And as you can see, once you put it through the door, that little adapter plate takes up all the gaps, so it's able to just stay stable on there. It's not flopping around. So we've got everything through here. The next thing we need to do is actually get the plate, this guy. We're gonna feed it through the hole just like this. We're gonna adjust it upwards so the middle portion here can come through here. The wire is gonna be routed right towards this little slit in the bottom. And then once we get this in a decent enough place, there's gonna be the 2 holes right here and right here. We're gonna get the these guys, these screws, and we're gonna fit them through so everything is nice and snug. So this is probably one of the hardest ones to do. Not only do you have to get it through this mounting plate, it has to go through, you can see this is the right hole. It has to go through the hole on the deadbolt itself, and then it has to go into the outer portion. You can't see it through here because I have that adapter on, but it's got to go through the hole in there. You know it's gone through when you pull back on it and it has resistance. You've actually threaded into this side that has the threads. Everything else is just the hole. So get that one through, then get the other one through, and then tighten them both up. All right, so now that we have the mounting plate on, everything's nice and tight. We're gonna get the inner portion here. The little shell of it comes off. So we're gonna get this part, we're gonna plug it in, and then we're gonna mount it up, and the screws will eventually go through here to keep this in place. But we're just gonna plug it up and then get the inside little home looking thing to go into the other home looking thing. All right, once it's on there, you can see you've got 2 holes on either side. So you're gonna have 2 packages when you take everything apart over there. You're gonna have one little package that has 2 screws in it and another one that has 3. These ones with 2 screws, they have big old fat heads on them. Those 2 are gonna go on the bottom. So you've got one on the left and one on the right. Now when we get the whole plate and put it on there, we'll be doing the top, left, right, and there's also a bottom one. All right, once we get those 2 screws in, this thing's not gonna go anywhere. It's nice and snug. It's not moving. It's nice and tight. It's gonna keep this in place. So if we look on both sides, you've got little ridges. Those are the handles that we're gonna use to squeeze and pull this up. And this is gonna be your battery pack. It comes with 4 batteries. We're gonna throw it in here, and then we're gonna pop it back in, and it's gonna go through its little initializing process to see where the door lock is and whatnot. So let's get the batteries in here. All right, we got the batteries. We're gonna drop these in here. There we go. That's loud. That sounded healthy. All right, and the last thing to do is to put this cover on. So you're gonna slip it on, make sure that the inside of this aligns up with the one on the other side. So it's been in this lock position the whole time. If you want to set up your HomeKit, take a picture of your little QR code thing, link it up to your house, play with it a little bit to see if it works. But this is gonna be hooked up this way. We see that that works, so that's good. Now we're gonna put the screw in on the left, the right, and underneath. So once you get everything installed on here, I am having an issue where it keeps saying it's jammed, and it's not jammed. It's working totally fine. So it says there is a manual setting procedure. So if we take the battery out and we hold down this big button here, and then we put it in for about 3 seconds and release, it should blink those 2 colors. We're gonna hit it again. And it does a manual setting. Okay, so that it's manual setting process, and if it does it successfully, it will blink green. If it does it unsuccessfully, it will blink red. This lock is so loud. So I tried to do that reset because I just had a little bit of extra room inside the door cylinder that it wasn't going in all the way. It was probably going in this much, and then it kept saying jammed. I had to open up my door, and I had to take a little bit extra out of here. So I had to just bore this out a little bit more. It says provide at least 1 inch so it doesn't think that it's jammed. And now that I have the app hooked up, it's the same thing as my garage door, the cheapo Tiho, that I have it set for 30 seconds. So I just go into the app and I say, hey, if I don't touch this thing in 30 seconds, lock yourself. So that will lock itself after 30 seconds of, yep, see, there it goes. So I don't even have to remember to do that. So I can have it lock automatically. Once you're on the outside, it's as easy as just pushing the lock button. So either you can let it lock itself. You say, hey, wake up, homie. Lock yourself. Then it locks itself. You can also have the randomizer on here because this does, it's kind of hard to tell, but it does show fingerprints. I've touched it a few times. In order to keep people away from trying to figure out what your code is, it has a randomizer on here. So if we wake it up, it'll have us touch 2 numbers in any order before it brings the keypad up. So you're not just having the same key codes. So I've already set up my key code, and I've also set up another person's key code. You can set up someone's key code and you can create schedules. So if your mother-in-law is coming to visit, you can set up her key code, but she can only come at certain times. So she's not in the house when you're not there, or she doesn't steal your stuff. I don't know what the reason is, but there's so many different options you can do with this. Plus, this one's connected to Siri, so I can just tell her to open my door or close my door, well, lock or unlock my door, and she'll be able to do it, and I don't even ever have to touch physically anything on the door. All right, so my house is officially smarter than it was before with the new smart lock. As you can see, that was a painless install. I had to do a little bit of construction to get that hole cleared out and be able to lock it and unlock it fully before I put everything together. But besides that, this one is 100% integrated with my phone, whereas the one on my garage isn't, but I also have modes of security for that. So I would say this thing is absolutely amazing. I love the security that they put on this. The only downside, and something that you might like, is it is loud. It is so loud. I can hear it on the other side of the house, loud. The motor that they use inside this is terrible. They need to find a different motor because it's horribly loud. I'm not the only reviewer that's ever done this. Go watch some other YouTubers or reviews or anything. You can hear it in the background opening and closing when they test it. But if you don't care about noise, I love this thing. It's cheap. It's not ridiculously expensive. It does have security features built into it, unlike the other Apple things that people have seen recently with no security pins. You can bump it open, easy as pie. Not this one. This one does actually have security pins, so it makes it a little harder. Cool.